We're starting to see a lot of pressure coming through for the resource space. Industrial's doing quite well, and as I mentioned, the likes of Aspen, the likes of Naspers, propping up the market. We are starting to see European markets also taking a bit of a knock. It has been a relatively good week, though, for equities all round.
Yes, I think the pullback we're seeing currently in resources is, it is mainly profit taking. They have had a very strong run this week. And also, there are those fears that China may influence rates this weekend by raising them, in order to manage inflation, and then therefore that will influence demand side and perhaps put a cap on demand, and so we see that to translate into resources. But yes, I think also quite a lot of profit taking going on right now.
Let's delve into some of these companies. Of course, a lot of news out. Aspen says it's concluded its acquisition of Sigma's pharmaceutical business in Australia, and a very good deal for the likes of Aspen, because it's really going to increase its footprint in that economy. The investor community clearly liking that news. We're seeing that stock up around 1 3/10%.
Yes, I think, it has been a long time coming. The first announcement of Aspen's intentions on the pharmaceutical business of Sigma was in August, and now it's come to a culmination. And, today the shareholder approval came through, and then by the end of January, the 31st of January, we're anticipating that the deal will be concluded. So, yes, very well received. It will give Aspen a huge advantage in Australia. I think it will make them leader in the pharmaceutical business in Australia. So, yes, it has been definitely well received by the market.
And Ntombenhle, it's quite interesting because when you read the press release by Aspen, they don't really mention the Australian regulator. We know what kind of headwinds were faced by the likes of Pick n Pay when it came to Franklin's in Australia. Just your sense from what you're hearing on the floor, is there confusion about what the regulator's stance is on this deal?
I think it is a deal. I mean, it has been going on, like I said earlier, since August. So I think that the regulators is very aware of it, and I'm sure they have the right approval to go ahead with the deal. They did say all conditions of the deal have been satisfied. So therefore, I'm assuming, and perhaps it's a gross assumption, but I'm assuming that the regulatory framework has been fulfilled also.
Looking at Truworths' trading update, they're expecting first half sales to be between 17 and 20% higher. A good set of numbers, and it seems that the debtors book also performed quite well for that period.
Yeah, Truworths has been very, very stellar since it came onto the top 40. It's certainly been a stock to watch, and it's performed just as well as its other peers, really. And so this trading update, I think, came out about 11, was very well received by the market. It was up about 1.7% the last time I checked it. So yes, we did expect a good performance out of Truworths because of the clientele and the part of the sector that they focus on, and obviously this is now translating into their share price.
Some of the analysts that we've been talking to on a day-to-day basis say that there's going to be a big shift in focus to the credit retailers. Of course, Truworths will be benefiting, but on the other end, the likes of Mr. Price, which also performed relatively well. One only has to look at the third quarter sales numbers, of course, which increased by around 13.3%. Ntombenhle, do you think there is going to be a major shift from cash into credit?
Yeah, well, there is that expectations, but I think all these, people, companies like MPC, cash is king, and it has worked for them, and I think Truworths, perhaps will benefit from it, but I think it will be across all retailers that we'll see it, all apparel retailers that will see a nice gain in their share prices. So time will tell when their results start coming out, and then we'll definitely see what it has translated for them.
Naspers, one of those stocks, also faring quite well today, very close to 400 Rand a share. Good news out of Tencent again, and it's really got to do with Naspers having interesting stakes, not only in the likes of Russia through mail.ru, but also coming through from Tencent.
Yes, Naspers has done very well. At the beginning of last year, it was sitting around about the 300 Rand level, 302 level, and now it's sitting at about 398. So very, very nice increase there in that stock price. I mean, if you got involved at the beginning of last year, you'd be very happy with its performance. But the news that came out today was that the Chinese search engine market value is expected to increase by 66% year on year in Q4 2010. So that has been very well received, because obviously, Tencent will benefit from there, and we saw Tencent in China today was up about 3.5%, and then that obviously translated into the Naspers price today, which is also up nearly about 2.6% or just beyond that. And really, it has really benefited from its diverse holdings in the internet businesses, such as Russia's businesses, as well as in the Chinese sector.
Telkom is coming under pressure today. Acting CEO Jeffrey Hedberg says he's not going to be renewing his contract when it expires at the end of March. We also know that government's Class A shares expire at the end of March as well. So there's been quite a bit of news coming through on Telkom.
Yeah, look, I mean, I've read just a few reports. Telkom did officially, it didn't officially give a statement as to why he is leaving. So it's all really speculation. I mean, one report I read mentioned that, the communications workers union wasn't happy about the Cell C executives that he appointed and the pay that they got. There's also the Multilinks business in Nigeria that he apparently did not perform so well at. And then there's also other reports about the government aspect of it that with the Class A shareholding coming to an end soon, and perhaps it's time for them to influence the new CEO that may come into Telkom, and they want to do that before the end of the shareholding special privileges. So I think it's there's a lot of speculation for regarding that. Certainly not didn't go down very well with the market. Market did not receive that very well. But it's interesting times, and Telkom really has been struggling quite a lot in terms of leadership for the past few years. And and I think the share certainly suffered quite a lot because of that.